So the Swedish referee, Anders Frisk, gets us underway. The Russians kicking from right to left. The odds are certainly against them qualifying. The Czechs, of course, are in a much healthier position. But twice in recent times, the Russians have saved their best till last. In the World Cups of 90 and 94, they've had big wins in the last games after losing the first two in the groups. Led off there by Sibutenkov. This is Koklov. And the first strike at goal. So a positive start here by the Russians, who have to win. There's no two ways about that if they're to stand any chance at all of reaching the quarter-finals. And this was a strong burst through by Koklov, but no real sting in the shot. Golukovic hit bravely with the head then. He's not a formidable character, Golukovic, 34 now. And back in the side today with the various injury problems that the Russians have defensively. Nikiforov. Yanovsky. Natal in with the tackle. That's a free kick to the Czech Republic. Kubik has the sweeper role. The absence of Kaplitz, the libero, he's out through suspension. Horniak. Kuka. Golukovic right into the back of him then, the veteran defender. Poborski with the free kick. Berger is in there. They've got Babel up as well, and Horniak making his way into the penalty box along with Sukuparek. Poborski then with the kick. Kuka was the man at the far post there, but the kick was overhit by Poborski. Kuka still looking for his first goal at Euro 96, just one in the qualifiers. Poborski, who had an excellent game against the Italians. To Tranza, to Golukovic. Played in the World Cup finals of 94, Golukovic. And only recently returned on the scene for the Russians because of their various injuries. Nikiforov, who missed the first game through suspension. Here's Koklov. Plenty of movement around him. Poborski, so busy and so inventive too. Full of running against the Italians, and he started the game, this one, in the same vein. But showing a bit too much aggression there for the liking of the referee, Anders Frisk. Radimov, the bright young hope of Russian football, hasn't really made the impact they might have hoped for so far in Euro 96. Here's Golukovic to Sibutenkov, getting his chance then from the start today. No Kanchelskis in the Russian team. Babel's pass has got astray to Berger. The Czechs hope they've got their mental approach right. They intend to be aggressive, not to allow the Russians to play the ball around in their normal fluent style. Out by Kubik, but Sibutenkov has pounced here. Still Sibutenkov. It's a well-timed tackle though by Kubik. Now wake up the Czechs. Kuka and Poborski taking over from him. Poborski going right through here. And he was brought down on the edge of the penalty area. Very nearly inside it. I think it's going to be a caution too for the offender, Nikiforov. He was the man who was death training for one of Klinsmann's goals in the games against Germany. So here's a great opportunity then for the Czech Republic. Sukuparek is there, and Kubik, the captain, along with Berger. The Russians with everybody back defending here. Kubik can be very dangerous on his left foot. The number 12, the veteran who's been brought back into the Czech team today. The referee is happy now, and here is Kubik. Terrific save by Cherchesov. Threw himself across the goal then to beat away the free kick from Kubik, which seemed to be heading for the corner. Superb free kick, but matched there by the athleticism of Cherchesov, who's back at goal today at Karin's expense. And it's a goal! Flashed into the corner from Sukuparik. So the relief for the Russians didn't last too long. And the Czech Republic have the lead. Well, maybe they didn't retain their concentration there. There was no real challenge on Sukuparik. And it really was an excellent header. Cherchesov totally stranded. He committed himself one way, couldn't get back in time. And the man on the line could do nothing either. Sukuparik with the early goal that the Czechs wanted to settle them down. 6 minutes gone. Nikiforov. Wonderful opening for the Czechs. They were so lifted by their display against the Italians. After a very dispirited showing in their first match against Germany when they were really totally outplayed. Up by Simbula. Kubik to Latau. Koklov in firmly. Got a whack for his troubles too. Well, the stadium certainly isn't full, but the Czechs here are making plenty of noise. And well, they might do. I wonder, are they going through to the quarterfinals? And that hardly seemed likely after they were overwhelmed by the Germans. They came back so well to beat Italy and have started here in splendid fashion with the early strike from Sukuparik. Only his 4th international goal. Nemec with Babel. Here's Babel again. One of the scorers, of course, in the win over Italy. Nedved here was the other one. Simbula. Really haven't broken their stride yet so far, the Russians. They've played some very attractive football at Euro 96, but without the cutting edge they needed up front. Latau. Free kick to the Czech Republic. Poborski to Kuka. Good support again from Poborski. The word, he works hard. And he's forced the corner too. To the obvious disappointment of Simbula. Berger going across to take the kick. Horniak is going forward again, and Sukuparik. The Russians all converging on him. Cherchesov, an anxious figure in his 6-yard box. Berger with the corner. It was Kuka. And again, the marking was sloppy from the Russians. Well, in fairness to them, they haven't had 3 or 4 of their main defenders here for Euro 96. Certainly their defending has been below par. And the slip almost led it Kuka. Zinovsky. There's Nikiforov. Spare man at the back for the Russians. He was careless there with his distribution. Golukovic. Swapping passes with Kapin, who's captaining the Russians today for the not go out through suspension. Yanovsky. Now Nikiforov. The idea was there, but not really the execution. Asking far too much of Kolivanov. the header again. Poborski with the corner, and Sukapanek with a wonderful header guided into the corner. Ten minutes gone, and the early signs very encouraging for the Czech Republic. Ukraine, their coach, certainly won't be settling for a draw from the off. He wants to win, can't risk what might happen in the other game. Nemec, gritty performer in midfield. Beguer now. It's good skill by him, but he couldn't get away from Nikiforov. Kapin. Free kick to Russia. Romantsev has been very disappointed by their showings. Well, he might be. They just haven't got into top gear. Certainly their finishing has let them down, as well as their defending. Golukovic to Nikiforov. With a tremendous shot from hot range, and he's trying one here. Fabulous strike there by Nikiforov. Searing drive there. And Korba had to keep a very watchful eye on that. Tipped just over the crossbar. Nikiforov, who was the top scoring defender in the Russian league last season. To Tranza. Now Radimov. Off goes Poborski. Kuka. To Tranza. Now Kapin. This is Kolivanov. Trying to thread it into the path of Koklov. The Czechs back in possession now. Beguer. Good anticipation by Nikiforov. Radimov now. Subotekov making the run ahead of him. Kolivanov. No one had read his intentions, though. And away by Kuba. Good pace to the game so far. No question of the Russians sitting back. They've got to go for it now. They've nothing to lose. Certainly their pride will play a part now. They won't want to go home with nothing to show for their efforts. Nedved. Natal was sneaked in there. It goes Kuka bravely too. Nedved. There's a real purpose about the Czechs so far. Poborski. Beguer making the run into the centre, which might just have let Nedved in behind him. It's a lot of well-timed runs, Nedved. Certainly for his goal against the Italians. Off goes Kapin. Babel in the way. Kapin again for Kolivanov. Now Radimov. Still Radimov. Such an exciting young player. But he couldn't get away from the assured figure there of Kubik, who's made a very comfortable start in place of Katlitz at the back. Babel to Latal. The Czechs pouring forward now. Latal, who loves to break down this right side. Beguer inside him. Now Babel. Like the look of him, Babel. He's having a good tournament. Stoniak. Here's Kubik. Had a brief spell with Derby County a couple of seasons back. Very brief. Stoniak. This is Babel. He's attracting a lot of interest from Bordeaux, the French team. And may well be joining them for the next season. Played against them for his club Slavia Prague in the UEFA Cup semi-finals. Radimov to Golukovic. 34-year-old defender. Here's Nikiforov. then on the break though for the Czech Republic. Poborský away to his right. Russians on the retreat here. Babel to Latal. Now Poborský. Good movement here from the Czech Republic. Latal. They certainly look a different side to the one that was really thrashed by the Germans, in truth. But of course, going into these last matches, all four teams have a chance of going through. Golukovic. He was given it away, he was careless then. This is Latal. Now Beguer. Beguer with a shot! And Cherchesov with a save. Beguer, who was the leading scorer in the qualifiers for the Czechs. A little surprisingly left out of the starting lineup for the first game against the Germans, although he did come on for the second half. And he kept his place for the second game. He does look a quality player. It is Kuka to Poborský. Janowski with him. And the referee has blown for the foul and a free kick to the Czech Republic, which will be the signal, I'm sure, for Sukopanek to go forward, as well as Horniak. They have the tall figure of Beguer in there too. In fact, it's Beguer taking the corner kick, the free kick rather, and headed out then by Koklov for the corner. Poborský going over to take this one. It was from his corner. Remember that Sukopanek gave the Czechs the lead. He's up there again, the number 3, Sukopanek. So too is Horniak. Babel on the near post, but it's cleared away. But they're playing with bags of purpose and commitment so far. The Czech Republic, who sense they have a real chance, and why not, of going through to the quarterfinals. Such a turnaround from that opening day. Golukovic with the foot in, ahead of Kuka. This is Kubik. Then Latal, immediately put under pressure by Sipmola. Babel on the Beguer, just lost his footing at the vital moment then. Koklov. Nedved biting away, snatching away at him. And a free kick to the Czechs. Nemets, we'd seen the run then of Kuka! Wonderful goal from Kuka! Superb anticipation! And just listen to the applause ringing around Anfield. A magnificent goal! A perfectly timed run. He's got goal side of Golukovic. And the goalkeeper, Cherchesov, was left stranded again. Nemets with that through pass, and Kuka with the finish. Perfect execution. And it's 2-0 with 19 minutes gone. And the Russians are really up against it now. Looking a very dispirited and despondent team. 7 goals they've conceded now in their 3 group matches. Kubik straight to Trenza. Fabulous vision shown by Nemets then to find Kuka. This is Nikiforov. Kubik towards Nedved. Kuka alongside him. His first goal in Euro 96. That was a dreadful block by Golukovic. He doesn't look like a man you'd want to argue with, but that was an awful challenge. I remember him being sent off in the World Cup finals in '94, Golukovic, I think against the Swedes. He's a pretty mean customer. Kubik, I think, lining a shot up here. Sukopanek, the man hovering over the ball. And it's Beguer, in fact, and he wasn't far away either. Well, they're buoyant at the moment, the Czechs. Their confidence is sky high. I think Cherchesov is maybe inspiring too much confidence among his teammates. Certainly didn't in the opening game. He gave away the ball for the first goal that the Italians scored. Beguer. Now Poborski. Very impressive display so far from the Czech Republic. Of course, they are relishing this chance to exact revenge on their former occupiers as an Eastern European side. It's all going their way so far. Kuka with that second goal. Ranimov. Kapin to his right. Don't really understand why they've opted to manage without the explosive pace of Kanchelskis. Koklov. Got no width to their play so far, the Russians. Nikiforov, the covering defender now. Kapin. Simbola to Koklov. And they've lost their way again. Poborski to Nedved. That was Sukopanek. Now Nemets. Honyak. Foul by Kapin on Kubik. He has settled it so comfortably. Kuka now threatening Golukovic again. He hasn't looked at all happy, Golukovic. Kuka teasing him again. Way by to Tratza. With Beguer lurking just behind him. And the Czechs are rampant at the moment. Poborski. That was a crude challenge by Janovsky. And they are in some disarray at the moment, the Russians. They've lost their organisation, their shape. Beguer with the free kick. Maybell who headed on. Kapin. By Tratza. Nedved who'd come across. Tratza. Kapin. All too predictable though. Nemec to Kubik. Latta. Beguer with Babel. Now Nikiforov. Just haven't got their game going so far, the Russians. Here's Golukovic. course, there's no Kiriakov for them. He's been sent home. Affecting morale was the official verdict from the coach. Undermining it. Dulukovic. By Radimov to Tatradze. It's keep ball from the Russians, but are they getting anywhere? Good anticipation by Kubik, who's having a splendid match. Nedved now setting off on one of those forceful runs, and Radimov resorting to a pretty dreadful tackle to bring him down, and that'll be a caution for him. The 20-year-old mistiming his tackle completely there. He's a real menace, Nedved, but he goes spurting forward like that. He might not be doing it for a little while now. Leading scorer for Sparta Prague last season. Kubik with the free kick. Horniak, the man at the far post here, should be the keepers. And he's released Simbula. Simutenkov. Nemec, though, grafting away. And it was he who produced that wonderful moment to set up the second goal. So there's more to his game than simply tackling. Nikiforov, he going forward till he ran into Berger. Here's Kuka. No support. Karpin. Still Karpin. And Simutenkov. Again, the Czechs breaking so swiftly. Yes, that's a free kick, surely. Yeah, the linesman's given it. The smiling referee in agreement with his linesman. Latal. Away from Simbula, at least he would have been. Cynical challenge from Simbula, the Russian footballer of the year. And their frustration has been clearly shown in this game, the Russians. They will certainly feel they haven't done themselves justice in Euro 96. Coming into the tournament, nobody knew maybe too much about them, other than they came through very strongly from what was admittedly a fairly weak group. They finished, well, the Scots, of course. The Scots drew with them twice. Those were the only points they dropped. So Latal having to be stretchered off. And for the moment, the Czechs are down to 10 men. While they assess the extent of the damage. Poborski with the free kick. Horniak to Kubik. Sukuparek, scorer of the first goal. Nedved. Then Berger. Kuka was setting off into the middle, but it was a wasted journey. Acknowledged by Berger, the Borussia Dortmund player. Simbula. Radimov seeking out Koklov. They've got bags of talent, the Russians, but you have to clear their mental resolve when it comes to these major tournaments. So much expected of this team. They were believed to be the best to come out of the Soviet Union since the 1988 team. This is Simbula, the side that got to the final, of course, of the European Championships. Here's to Transer. Kapin to Radimov. Again, an excellent pass sent to Poborski. He was a little unlucky. Simbola. Certainly there's more purpose about the Czechs. To Transer. Nikiforov to Golukovic. Ivanov, leading scorer in the qualifiers, who were 5 for the Russians. But he hasn't got off the mark in Euro 96. Their only goal has come from Simbola in the defeat by the Italians in the opening match. Ivanov from Foggia in Italy. Now Yanovsky. So Chekhov made a run there. Some space there for Yanovsky. Radimov. Yanovsky again. Didn't really go in though with any conviction. They've got some sturdy defenders back there, the Czechs. The likes of Sukuparek and Honiak. And Kubik, who's come in so well. To Transit. This is Kapin. Sibuchenkov turned really well then, down he goes. No penalty, Simbola. Yanovsky with a shot that's charged down. This might have been a hint of a penalty appeal then, but in fairness, there was no real complaint for the Russians. They are enjoying a little spell of pressure here. That was an important interception by Sukuparek. Radimov with Kapin. Russia's free kick. Threatening to impose themselves a little now, the Russians. Golukovic advancing towards the penalty box. Kapin's free kick. Nikiforov. And Koklov. Kuka back defending. Latta. Nemets won't bother to chase that one. Yanovsky. This is to Transer. Czechs just simply to sit behind the ball at the moment. They invite the Russians to come at them. Hoping then to catch them on the break. Golukovic. Honiak with a foot in. Here's Koklov. Now Nikiforov. One of the Spartak Moscow players. Nevier. Good defending initially from Honiak. Babel. Sibuchenkov, who won it back for the Russians. In goes Simbola. Kuka to Nemec. Kubik. Well, it's certainly a period of possession for the Russians. But can they find some penetration up front? To Transit. Radimov. No one really closing it down. Away by Beger to Nedved. Now Nemec. Too many options ahead of him. But here's Beger. Babel. Babel from Slavia Prague. The champions. This is Ivanov with Simbola. Yanovsky. One of the two players from Vladikavkaz, the champions of Russia. And two in the squad to Transer. There's the other one, the number 2 there. Now this is Kolivanov. Teasing Kubik. But he wasn't to be outsmarted. Really experienced player, Kubik. Off goes Berger now. Kuka to his left, still Berger. Got a great left foot. Here's Kuka. Berger. Can't find Nedved. Now can the Russians break here? Radimov. Good movement from Kolivanov. Karpin's at the far post, still Kolivanov. And there was Kubik again. Well, he's coming as if he's never been away. Babel. Held it up well. Nedved to Kubik. There's a chance to impose himself in the imposing half now. Latal. Poborski. Taking on Simbula. Radimov. Empty seats around Anfield, but those that are here are enjoying this game, I'm sure. Some of those who follow the Czech Republic are. Karpin to Golukovic. Then Nikiforov. Very ambitious. Demonstrating with his colleagues. They had no chance of reaching that one. Goes Kuka. Nikiforov is there with him. Still Kuka. And Nedved. Wasteful finishing by him for once. He's normally pretty sharp around the penalty box, Nedved. Didn't really get hold of that one properly. It was eased into his path by Kuka. But he's mishit it, really. Simchenkov. Good tackle there by Sukuparek. Poborski. Trying to show his pace here against Simbula. Latal taking over. Got 2 in the middle. Still Latal. And Nikiforov getting back in time. Does make some great bursts down the right flank though, Latal. Is for Schalke in Germany, who've just qualified for the UEFA Cup by finishing 3rd in the Bundesliga. So Berger with the corner kick. Oh, miss kick. It's off the bar. Horniak, so unlucky then. Just looking there to see if it crossed the line. Don't think there was any question of it. Again, such careless defending. No, it was well away. Another escape though for the Russians, who were 2 down, and it could have been worse. Romancev, the coach, can't be too pleased with what he's seeing out there. As indeed he hasn't been in the first 2 matches. Against the Germans, he said some of our players were bad and others were worse. This is Kolivanov. Just can't force his way through, though. Almost got another bite at it. Out by Kubik. Kuka, splendid turn by him. He's got Berger in support. Still Kuka. No, Nikiforov in the way. Now to Tranza. That's a foul, surely on Karpin. But they have performed with such zest in the first half, the Czech Republic. There's the miss kick then by Karpin. The shot from Horniak. Down off the bar and away to safety. 5 minutes of the first half remaining then. Karpin is the man over the ball, and Kolivanov with the shot that's over the bar. Not his tournament so far. Interesting dive into his path there, nothing like Kuka. He brought it. He was banging it earlier, he certainly is now. Nikiforov to Yanovsky. It's the Russians with plenty of possession. And it counts for nothing if you do nothing with it. To Transer, some space over on that right side. Put in for Karpin. Kubik standing firm again. Now Nedved on the counter-attack. Kuka taking over from him. Almost wriggled through too. Babel chasing now. Excellent defending there by Nikiforov. He's such an elegant player. Karpin to Kolivanov. Turned back into trouble though. Nemec. Then Latau. Kubik. They certainly haven't missed Kadlitz. Kubik standing in for him tonight has been outstanding at the back. Sukuparek. Poborski. Taking on Yanovsky. It's not a back cross either. Oh. Ricochet back off the crossbar. And very nearly sneaked in then from Poborski. He's prepared to take on Yanovsky. Cherchesov clearly thought it was going to sail over the top. Aye, that was a let-off then for the Russians. Kolivanov, he's given it away though. Beguer, more danger threatening here for the Russians. Nikiforov in with the tackle. Yanovsky. Too ambitious, surely. Nedved. Nemec. Well, it's hard to believe this is the same side that succumbed so easily to the Germans, but maybe that's a measure of how good the German team is. Babel with Horniak, then Latau. Good, incisive, flowing football here from the Czechs. Nemec trying to keep the momentum going. Babel. Nemec. Beguer. Tripped then by Koklov. Almost at the end of the first half. So another late opportunity here then for the Czechs to improve their situation even more, maybe. They played with style and with purpose in this first half. Kubik is there again, and Beguer. Keep your eye on him, number 14 here, Patrick Beguer, the Borussia Dortmund player. Sukuparek to Beguer! Off the crook near post. Cherchesov beat. And this has been a very, very impressive first half of the Czech Republic. Spanking drive then by Beguer. And the goalkeeper saved by the upright. Beaten again, Cherchesov. Two have gone in, they've hit the bar, they've hit the post. They have played in exhilarating fashion in the Czech Republic. And quite clearly, we wrote them off far too early. after defeat in their opening game. Koklov for the beleaguered Russians. Tchatza. Golukovic. Now Yanovsky. Now Poborski. Nedved. Well, so much to admire about the Czech Republic, and certainly from that free kick from Beguer, I think maybe Chechesov might have just got his fingertips to it. The half-time whistle, and a roar of appreciation from neutrals as well as from the Czech fans in the stadium. Sukoparek with the first goal. It set them on their way. Then Kuka with an excellent headed second goal, and in truth it could have been more. Half-time at Anfield, Russia 0, the Czech Republic 2. So far, so good then for the Czech Republic, leading by 2-0. And the Russians have made a double substitution up front for this second period. Beschaznik is on. Also Mostovoy. And they've taken off Simutenkov and Kolivanov. Foul by Tchatza. I'm sure news will have filtered through to the Czechs on what's happening in the other game. Just keep their nerve now. And they will be heading into the quarterfinals. Sukoparek. Beguer. Still Beguer. That was Kapin with the tackle. And Beguer. Well, Nemec. Tchatza to Mostovoy from Strasbourg in France. This is Beschaznik. He's a very talented young front runner. Czech, terrific injection of pace there. Just releasing Mostovoy, Latal. Beschaznik plays his club football for Werder Bremen in Germany. 22-year-old. Here's Simbula. Beschaznik. Dragging it clear. Well, he's certainly started with a purpose. Beschaznik still. And he's forced the corner. Cost £2 million back in the summer of '94, Beschaznik, when he moved from Spartak Moscow. Away by Kubik. Yanovsky to Nikiforov. Now Kapin. Some shirt tugging going on then from Nemec. But no caution for him. Leniency being shown here by the Swedish referee. Certainly pulled it back. I'm surprised that's not a yellow card. Kapin will take this free kick. That was Simbula. And the shot's gone just wide from Yanovsky, and it was deflected on the way. So a bit more purpose about the Russians. I'm sure they've come out with a few stinging words in their ears from their coach. They really didn't perform in the first half. Rather lackluster. Certainly no penetration up front. Hence the double substitution. Not that all the blame could be laid at their door. The general all-round team display was way below par from the Russians. Here's Simbula with the corner. Dealt with by Kuka, whose goal in the first half was his 18th for the Czech Republic. And they've got one back, Mostovoy! Russia have scored. busted into the space there. Substitution is immediately paid off. Goal side there of Beggar. His header. Kuba. Off with the cross. Execution is perfect from Mostovoy. So the Russians are back in the game. Right at the start of the second half. And now we're going to see transfer action here. It's got to be the second period. Leading the wall for the Russian team. Kotlov. It is Bebo up with the tackle. Away goes Nepier. Now Beggar. Shot, spins away off the Tranter. That'll be a goal kick. Now the goal will galvanise the Russian team in the second half. It was a free header really for Mostovoy. Nobody picked him up. His 9th goal for Russia and his 35th appearance. Regular goal scorer from midfield for the Strasbourg team in France. Cleared by Kotlov. Janowski and the flag's up for offside. Good advantage play there by the referee. He's kept the game flowing here. Golukovic. Now Mostovoy, he's onside. Oh, and he took it too far. Ran him off in the middle, was totally unmarked. There's Chasnik in there too. Rather reminiscent there of the chance that he squandered in the last game against the Germans. Look at the space he's got here, Mostovoy. Looked to have drawn the keeper, but then he lost control. He's got one goal, he could have had another one. And at the moment, it's a different story. Ukraine, the coach, looking a worried man down there. They seem to be totally in control, the Czechs. 2 goals in the first half, and in truth, they could have had more. Now suddenly, fresh life has been pumped into Russian legs. Played off by Radimov, to Tranter. So many permutations possible in this group still. Nikiforov. Going to meet behind the strike, but no real direction. But the Russians seem to have found their way at last, in terms of making a match of it anyway. He looked so dispirited in the first half. A breezy night around Anfield, and a cool one too. Nikiforov to Kotlov. Then Golukovic, and this time the referee has brought play back. I think he felt that Kotlov had lost possession then. Golukovic. For to Tranter. It's Chasnik. Here's Radimov. Brought down by Horniak. Radimov. Here's Golukovic, threatened by Kuka. To Tranter. Away come the Russians again. To Tranter. He's going all the way through here. Now Radimov. Brought down to Tranter. It's there. 2-2 to Tranter. Russian team have been totally transformed. An amazing recovery here in the second half. Radimov tackled there by Nemec. Maybe that would have been a penalty, but Petranza wasn't waiting to find out. And the Russians are now on level terms, having been outplayed in the first half. Russia 2, the Czech Republic 2. Petranza with his first goal for the Russian national team. And this is 26th appearance. Berger. And the Czechs have got to pick themselves up again now. Karpin. Bezjazny. They've got 3-4 in the middle. In goes Janowski. Kuka. Well, I think we're set fair now for a cracking second half. The Czechs have got to go for it. They can't rely on the draw. Who knows what might be happening at Old Trafford. Well, maybe Romantsev has instilled some fresh pride into his players, I don't know, but I'm sure words were exchanged at half-time. They were abysmal in the first period. Up by Babel to Nedved. Now Berger. By Janowski to Mostovoy. Sipbola. And Bezjazny. Really too long for Mostovoy. Score that first goal, then Petranza with the equaliser. And really it's the rival of Mostovoy and Bezjazny. I feel has made the difference in the second half. Playing with plenty of zest up front. And giving the Czech defenders plenty to think about. That was Sipbola. Well, the Czechs must be cursing their luck now from the first half when they hit the woodwork 3 times. If one of those had gone in, then surely this game would have been beyond the Russians. But as it is, they're right back in contention. Sipbola. It's a fascinating contest now. And a crucial one, of course, to Petranza. Bezjazny. He's got plenty of strength up there. And a lovely little turn too by him. Still Bezjazny. Koklov. Brought down. That'll be a free kick. No, the referee says play on. Well, he's only a few yards away. He's got a better view than I have. But I would have thought that was a foul. No matter, here come the Russians again. And again, the referee says play on. Nedved, straight at Koklov. Kuka. And the Russians are certainly up to the battle now. Playing with so much more conviction. Kubik with the free kick for the Czech Republic, who look to have had the game won. Out by Nikiforov. This is Latal. Latal again. Now, was he tumbled there? No. Play on, says the referee. Kubik. Well, that's a terrific pass. Latal. Kuka in the centre. To Lukovic to hook it away. But only as far as Poborski. Now, can he get his cross in from here? Chercheshev with the save. Radimov. Nedved. This is Berger. Neat change of footing there from Beguer to Transer now. It's going from one end to the other. Szczesnik's calling through the centre. This is run him off. Now Szczesnik has shown for him. Nedvěd biting into the tackle, and the free kick is given to the Czech Republic. What difference he's made there, Szczesnik, since coming on for the second half. The Czechs may make a substitution in a moment or two. Janovsky, and safely back to Cherchesov. I think it might be Smetcher they want to bring on. Koklov. Caught by Nedvěd. He was late then. And that will be a yellow card. Really think he's got any cause to argue, and he'll be out of the quarter-final. And what a blow that would be for the Czechs if they do get through. He's been a really influential player for them. Szczesnik to Kapin. Now Beguer for the Czechs. Away by Horniak. Transer. Kapin, the Russian captain from Real Sociedad in Spain, although I gather he could well be switching to Valencia. Janovsky on for Szczesnik. Horniak to the rescue, but only just. My word, he's looked dangerous for Szczesnik. And you have to ask, why hasn't he played before? Poborski. I think that's another caution. Janovsky. Four yellow cards for the Russians. Latal's free kick. Nedvěd looking to get underneath this one. Cross comes Nikiforov. He's put to Transer under pressure. Now by Nemec, but only to Mostovoy. Kapin. Russians in full flow here. I think it's broken up by Beguer, who's working very, very hard to complement his undoubted skill. Mostovoy, the villain of the piece. Free kick to Kuka, couldn't turn Golukovic to Transer. Koklov. Now Kubik. Trying to shake off Szczesnik. Poborski to Nedvěd. This is a promising break here for the Czech Republic. Beguer. And ran straight into to Transer. He's furious with himself. He's got a back pedal now. Koklov. Good tackle by Sukupalik. Beautifully timed. But not so the pass to Latal. Koklov. Russia 2, the Czech Republic 2. I wonder which way will it go now. Nikiforov. In police there by Kuka, who chased it back. Beguer. Kapin doing a similar job for the Russians. But his challenge was an unfair one. Berger, who's taken a bit of a pounding at times for the Russians. Karpin certainly caught him. Ukraine, the coach down below me, is having words with Nemec. An outstanding talent, Patrick Berger, as he had a line with Borussia Dortmund last season, and is certainly doing so now for the Czech Republic in Euro 96. Kubik with a free kick. Golukovic, bags of experience, as he showed then in outmanoeuvring Kuka. Well, there's certainly concern now on the faces of the Czech Republic supporters, who were so jubilant at half-time. They reckoned without the Russian riposte. Vyshaznik was helped lead the way. Still Vyshaznik. Good block though by Horniak. Kuka now. Really is a rousing contest between these two now fully committed teams. Nedved. Horniak to Berger. Seems to have a free roll, Berger. Free roll to impose himself. Kubik. Golukovic very tight here on Kuka. Still Kuka though. And Kubik. And he brought down Karpin. Shalimov, Igor Shalimov, about to make his entrance for the Russians. Former Inter Milan player Shalimov. Now with Udinese in the Italian Serie A. Koklov. Berger did well to distract him then. Here's Kuka. Super run from Kuka. Nemec to Poborski. At least it would have been after the intervention of Tetradze. And now the Russians can bring on Shalimov, their third substitute. So that's it for them. And it's Simbula who is going to be replaced. Nemec to Poborski. Kuka looking to wriggle through. Collision then with Golukovic. And in fairness, no real protest from the Czech Republic. And they certainly had no sympathy from the Swedish referee. Rightly so. Schmitzer about to come on in a moment for the Czechs, but not just yet. It's out of play. Now here's the run by Kuka. He's turned inside Nikiforov, blocked certainly by Golukovic, but no penalty. Looks a formidable figure, doesn't he, Golukovic? As Kuka is going off, Schmitzer to replace him, and you can hear the appreciation for Kuka's contribution from the Czech Republic fans. So Kuka off and Schmitzer is on. Vladimir Schmitzer. And he's straight into the game. Berger. I think that was over the line. Russia's throw. meets there, one of the Slavia Prague contingent. Yet to score for his country. How they would relish one from him now. So tight, this group. Nikiforov to Yanovsky. Golukovic. Now Nikiforov. Going forward here, Nikiforov. Till he ran into that solid line of Czech defenders. Kubik breaking from his defensive role. Nedved was ran and chased and really had a splendid game for the Czechs. Kubik will take this free kick. Tony Smits here is right up front. This is Beguer. Kubik. On that favoured left foot, still Kubik. Well, he's prepared to have a crack with his right, then it's over the top from Nedved. On by Koklov to Shalimov. It was a good tackle in by Spitzer. Nedved. Babel, who hasn't really been able to get forward in the second half. They've been fully stretched, containing the Russians. Shalimov. Hooked on by Mostovoy, but straight to Kubik. And a mistime challenge by Poborski with the Tradze. Golukovic. Back playing again with Spartak Moscow, Golukovic. After their various defections earlier in the season. Free kick then to Russia, taken quickly by Karpin to Golukovic. Karpin whipping over the cross, doesn't reach Mostovoy. Shalimov. Nedved. His progress though blocked by Shalimov. Little altercation right on the edge of the box. Mostovoy goes down. And the referee says no free kick, thank you. Off the head of Golukovic is Smits there. Taking up to Tradze, who's yanking him back. It's getting very tense out there now. As I'm sure it is at Old Trafford. Now Poborski will take the kick. Horniak has come forward and Sukuparek. Here's Poborski to Kubik to drive it through. And the Russians have cleared the danger for the time being anyway. Poborski with the corner kick. The keeper has got back on his line now. As Horniak challenged. It's another corner. Doesn't really look comfortable on crosses, Cherchesov, I have to say. Can't seem to make up his mind where he's going. So Poborski to try again. Cherchesov fisting it out this time. Kubik. Radimov it was who gave it away. Here's Poborski. Berger trying to find some space in the middle. It'll fall for Nedved. Nedved shots. Just couldn't get hold of it. But another threatening spell from the Czech Republic, looking to regain the initiative that was certainly with them in the first half. But all credit to the Russians for their recovery since half-time. And the criticism I'm sure they had from their coach, who maybe reminded them they were playing for their country. Certainly didn't look up for the task in that first 45 minutes. They've come out with renewed vigour in the second period to turn the game around at 2-2 now. And you certainly feel it really could go either way. Poborski trying to nutmeg Koklov. This is Golukovic. Beyond Mostovoy though, Latal. Now to Tradza. Very nearly caught in possession. He was living dangerously then to Tradza. The man whose goal brought the Russians level. With 15 minutes to go. Mostovoy with a free kick then for Russia. After Latal's infringement, it's Jasnik. Abel battling there. Poborski taking over from him. Nedved's got forward again. Step through to Smitsir. And Golukovic to whack it away. I don't know if he knows they've kicked off yet. Kubik. Berger. Good slide in by Karpin. Here's Mostovoy. Touched on neatly then to Karpin. He's away. Was Jasnik. Oh! And hauled back then by Nemets. Well, he committed the same offence earlier. He got away with it. I don't think he's going to this time. Yellow card for Nemets. Almost had the shirt off his back then. He's gritty, he's determined, but he's not that quick. Now Karpin and Mostovoy supervising the free kick. Janowski has gone up, the number 18 in there. Here's Mostovoy to cut it over. That was Janowski. And Horniak getting goal side of his man there, Radimov. Horniak, one of 3 players to strike the woodwork in the first half for the Czechs. And their fans are going to wonder now, if it stays as a draw, is that going to be enough? Shalimov. Up towards Mostovoy. And the referee deciding there the offender was Babel. So the Czechs on the retreat now. Nikiforov has come up. And the keeper holding on. I wonder how good a view he had of that. With a lot of movement in front of him. As the kick was whipped in by Mostovoy. Safe handling though from Kuba. Nikiforov. Poborski to Lata. Poborski. Schmitzer. Now can he pull the ball back here? This is Berger. Nemets. Jasnik working hard to close him down. Nedved. Ran straight into a brick wall called Golukovic. But this is Beger. Now Babel. The Czechs looking to up the pace again now. They've really got to go for the winner. Poborski. Poborski looking at dart through. Oh, the post again! Fantastic run by Poborski. And he can't believe his misfortune. Really deserved a goal there. Here they come once more. Nemets to Poborski. Nedved. Slip through Poborski. And Beger! No! The flag was up anyway. It would not have counted, but Beger wasn't to know that. And there's the strike again from Poborski. Really was a super little run. Denied by the post. The fourth time in this game that the Czechs have suffered in that way, either the bar or the post. It stays at 2-2. And it's all set now for a grandstand finale. Nikiforov. Sukoparek to Kubik. Whose composure has certainly been extended in the second half by the Russian revival. Well, one thing is certain, the Russians won't be going through if it stays at a draw, so they've got to seek out a winner, certainly. The Czechs don't really know what they need. Shalimov with a free kick. Nikiforov has stayed back. But it goes Kopin, and that was Koklov with a header over the bar. Maybe the Czechs had a watchful eye on Karpin. But it was Koklov who got to the ball first. That's his dart into the centre, and it was Nedved's slip, which certainly helped him. Karpin. Time for Kubik. Nemets. Up towards Spitzer. Detractor is there with him. Beger. Going from Golukovic, but not from Koklov. Nemets. Now Spitzer. Here's Poborski. Seems to be all over the field. Taking on Yanovsky, still Poborski. It took two of them to block him in the end. What a game he's had, Poborski. Just seems to be growing in confidence with every match now. Having been given his chance in the starting lineup. It did seem he'd have to wait for his chance at the outset of the competition. Offside against Mostovoy. One of the very few offside decisions I think we've had in this game. Can't remember too many. And here's that shot goal again from Poborski. Cherchesov left floundering again. What have I got to do to score, he's asking. Kubik. Beger. Couldn't get away though from Golukovic, but he's won the corner. Just wonder what signals they're giving from the bench, because they just can't be too sure of what's going on in the other game. A draw might be enough. Sukoparek has advanced. Right on the edge of the 18-yard area. So is Horniak and Beguer. It'll be Poborski to take this corner kick. But to no avail. Shalimov. Golukovic with Nikiforov. Yanovsky. Radimov. Nikiforov on for Bezjasnik. Might have set himself up for the shot. He has! Oh, an awesome strike from Bezjasnik. And from being 2-0 down, the Russians now lead 3-2. An astonishing comeback in the second half. And maybe now it's been completed by Bezjasnik. Well, he had time to look up. But I wonder how many would have put money on him scoring from there. Just look at the power here and the strike from Bezjasnik. And Kerber in the goal there had absolutely no answer. The second half substitute Bezjasnik. 2 goals then from substitutes. Mostovoy with that first one. Now Bezjasnik with a third after the equaliser from Tatranza. But here comes Babel trying to slip it on. Well, the Czechs will be desperate now. Nedved looking to dance his way through. That's Shalimov back defending. It's a corner, but Russian hearts were in their mouths then. All eyes were on the referee. No penalty, just a corner. Looking the coach off his seat on the touchline there. Here's Poborski with the corner. Up goes Sukoparek. Good play by Cherchesov. He hasn't really looked comfortable that often on crosses, but he certainly was there. Tatranza. And there are some very, very solemn faces away to my left now among the Czech fans. They can't believe what they're seeing. Shalimov to Radimov. Here come the Russians once more. Latal. Now Sukoparek to Nemets. Beguer. Dispossessed though by Karpin. Here's Sukoparek. Karpin again. Then Mostovoy. Now Mostovoy is away. They've got 4 up in this attack. Here's Karpin. Maybe he can settle it here. They back for Mostovoy. And wide by Radimov. It could have been all over then for the Czech Republic. But they've been let off the hook. This is Karpin, unselfishly laid back to Mostovoy. And then Radimov wide of goal. Babel to Kubik. Nedved. Hit off by Spitzer. Kubik going forward. Kubik shots! Terrific save by Cherchesov. Kubik breaking forward from his defensive role. But the keeper got right behind it. Golukovic. Karpin. He was casual there, that's Kubik. Off goes Spitzer. He could be in here! Yes! 3-3! Spitzer to set off wild scenes of delight among the Czech fans. What an astonishing game. And if there been any doubt, Euro 96 has really come to life now. Spitzer beyond the stranded figure of Cherchesov. Kubik's intelligent through ball then. He had pace here and he had control. Well, is there time, I wonder, for one final twist in the tail? Kubik kept his head then, and certainly so did Spitzer, the substitute. The goal coming inside the last couple of minutes. Well, it nigh on takes your breath away. This has been an extraordinary game. Some exhilarating football from both teams. Some wonderful goals. So many near misses. And it's not finished yet. Yanovsky to Shalimov. Nikiforov. We're almost into stoppage time now. Mostovoy. Nedved. Just happy to hammer it away. I think the referee has given the free kick, has he? Bit of confusion out there for the moment. The Czechs want to bring on another substitute. Their most capped player, Nemecek. Maybe just to calm them down in the last few seconds. If that's possible. Amidst the mayhem. And all the excitement here. Well, he'll be so relieved, Ukraine, that they've got it back to 3-3. That's Kubik. Spitzer. Looked to be tumbled then by Yanovsky. I think that's the referee's view. Getting a bit gloomy over there now. It's hard to see what he's given. Now the substitution can be made. Nemecek on for Berger. And I thought they wanted to keep him out there. He can score from anywhere, this fella. He's had a super game too. So Berger making his exit to a rapturous reception from the Czech fans. And Václav Nemecek prepares to come on. Poborski with a free kick. Nemecek heading straight off upfield. Oh, Nikiforov missed it then. Kubik. To Transen. The final whistle. So the so-called group of death has proved fatal for the much-fancied Russian side. But while they failed to deliver, the Czech Republic must wait now to see if this draw will be enough to earn them a place in the quarter-finals. They think it is. 3-3, it's finished. At the end of a quite remarkable game.
I can tell you the final score from Old Trafford. Italy 0, Germany 0. It means the Czech Republic go through to the finals.
The joy of victory. And just look at the elation here, the euphoria on the faces of the Czech players who toiled away tonight. They thought their place had been snatched away from them, but in the end they finally got there. And who would deny them that after this spirited display?